I think we're going to get started. So good afternoon, everybody. Hope you guys are enjoying Ignite so far. My name is John Farkas. I'm the worldwide CE for DLP here at Palo Alto Networks. And today we're going to talk about how we can provide consistent data protection across the network and cloud. And so before I begin, I just want to throw a disclaimer up on the screen here. We are going to talk about some things today that are coming in the future. So some of what you see are things that are potentially subject to change. We are going to talk about some things that are planned. So standard disclaimer whenever we say anything about futures or roadmaps. No guarantees to what we're showing. But with that said, we want to talk about protection of data. And before we begin, we have to understand what are the reasons why we do this. So what are some of the motivators why customers come to us and say, how can we protect our data? Well, obviously, the first one is the one you hear in the news all too often, which is we need to protect ourselves against data breaches. We need to make sure that we're not presenting any potential liability for mishandling of data, which means that we have to not only be protecting our data because these things happen, but we have government regulations that require us to prove that we are doing so. So things like, obviously here in the EU, GDPR is always a big topic, but there are other ones for different sectors, for the healthcare industry, for the financial industries. We want to do this, of course, to show that we're being compliant with those standards, and also, at the end of the day, we're looking to protect our intellectual property, right? If we have confidential data that we're working on, we can't have that getting in the hands of other entities or business parties or competitors or the news or what have you. And then the last thing on this slide that we're going to talk about, of course, is what is the threat of someone inside of my organization? So we need to be mindful of protection from the actions taken by people inside of our organization. Now, that could be independent of intent. It doesn't necessarily mean that we're talking about intentionally malicious insiders. Those do exist, and those are a huge risk to organizations. But when we start to think about how we're working with our data, in the interest of collaboration, it happens all too often that users inadvertently do something that puts data at risk, whether it's just inappropriate sharing or sending a file to the wrong person. The people inside my organization who are supposed to have that data represent just as much of a risk. And so, let's stop and talk about just how much it costs when these things happen. And the kind of quick and dirty answer is it costs a lot. It costs a lot in the way of financial resources. There's costs in the terms of man hours to clean these things up and to go and start remediating and taking impact changes on what we're doing. But more importantly, it costs us in terms of reputation. If we're being trusted by our customers to hold data and we don't take responsibility for that data, that's a cost that you can't really put up into a number, right? There's a reputation cost. And of course, the Ponyman Institute that published the numbers I was showing on the last slide, they of course break this down by sector. It's more impacting to some sectors than it is to others, but it's still impacting. So we want to be mindful of these costs. We want to be mindful of making sure we're protecting the data. And when we talk about protecting data, let's kind of think about what that means. So the first thing we have to understand about our data is what is it? We can't protect what we don't know. We have to understand what that data is. We have to classify it. We have to say, this is financial data, this is sensitive information, this is a legal document. We can't protect what we don't know. And we have to understand the context around that. So how are my users interacting with this data? How are my users using it? Where are they putting that data? Are they emailing these files to each other? Are they emailing these files outside the organization? Are they storing these files in an application inside my data center? Or are they storing that file outside my data center in a SaaS application or an unsanctioned cloud application? Are they collaborating with people outside the organization from within those applications? We need to understand both what the data is and how it's being used before we can begin to understand how do I protect it. And of course, the way we protect that data can change from those different contexts. Right? So in the case of an email, maybe I want to stop email flows based on where that's going. In the case of a collaborated folder in a SaaS application, I want to change the collaboration settings, or I want to modify that. I want to take different types of protection based on the context or the risk associated with how that data is being used in and of itself. And so at Palo Alto Networks, of course, we've been providing you with consistent security services. We want to make sure that when we talk about protecting data, or DLP, we're doing it consistently across both the network and SaaS and cloud applications, just like all the other services that you saw discussed during the keynote session yesterday. And so a quick vision of what we're doing, or the approach that we're taking towards DLP, is to provide, again, complete uniform classification. We're providing a DLP engine that is uniform and consistent across all the different spaces where you're going to look to classify data. So you should only have to classify data one single time and do it once, but sync that configuration across all of the different places where that data could be. So have the same policy or the same set of configuration for what data looks like in a cloud application as for what it looks like inside of a network flow, and be able to apply protection appropriately based on that. And we're going to do that using a number of different techniques. So we're going to be using machine learning. We'll show you you can do regular expressions. There's a number of different ways that you can do that, again, uniformly with a remediation workflow that's appropriate based upon the context where that data is going. And then, of course, in doing that, you'll have the ability to do some advanced analytics, be able to understand the usage of data in your organization as well. And so to kind of walk through how this all looks, I'm going to invite Megha Bindal, who's our TME, to talk more about our DLP.
Hello, everyone. So with the current DLP version, we have embedded this service in most of the Palo Alto Networks products. So currently, it's available for Prisma SaaS, and it's in beta version for Prisma Access. And as John showed you the previous slide, it would be embedded in Prisma Cloud, NGFW, Traps, everywhere. So that way, we'll be protecting data in motion and at rest. The main advantage of this is no proxies or ICAP are needed, and there's the deployment time is very less. Once the DLP service is embedded, the data identifiers are present everywhere. So the same data identifiers are present in Prisma SaaS as well as Prisma Access. Anything you create in one platform will be automatically synced in the other platform. Also, just by a show of hand, how many of you are Prisma SaaS customers? Prisma Access? Okay, so you guys might know that there were very less predefined data patterns in Prisma Access and around 40 plus in Prisma SaaS. So with this new DLP version, we have close to 254 data patterns, which covers a lot of GDPR like France, Luxembourg, and many EU countries and Canada and other stuff. Also, we have advanced ML classifiers, so which is also available on Prisma Access now. So what that means is it would be able to do ML analytics and actually find out if it's a financial information and can run regexes on top of it. We have also introduced the concept of data profiles, which was data filtering profiles in Prisma Access on Prisma SaaS. So with that, you can actually combine advanced Boolean logics on Prisma SaaS as well as Prisma Access. So you can do a combination of and, or, and not, etc., to actually reduce false positives and get more visibility on the risky content. So the first slide on my left is actually Prisma Access, and on the right is Prisma SaaS, and you can see all the data identifiers are exactly same on both the sides. And if I create anything custom data pattern, both will be synced. And this is how it looks. So when I click on a data pattern on Prisma Access, we have, so for example, this is a credit card number. So we have a concept of proximity keyword to reduce false positives. So what that means is, if I have a credit card number regex, and the document has one of those proximity keywords, that is a very high confidence. So that also gives you a confidence level that, hey, this document has a credit card match, but just the regex matches, so it's like kind of a low confidence. If both proximity keyword and the regex match, it's a high confidence. And especially for credit card number, we also have a concept of medium confidence. What that means is, so in case of a credit card number, there's an algorithm called LUN check. So if that matches with any of these keywords, we still consider it as a medium confidence. But if it passes the LUN check, and if it's an actual Visa number and the proximity keyword is Visa around it, that means it's a high confidence. So that gives us a lot more visibility and reduces a lot of false positives. And the same thing is available in Prisma SaaS too. So this is the data profile concept I was talking about. So as you can see, we can combine multiple data patterns like ML, regex-based, etc. And you can also define what kind of confidence levels you want. So you can have a data profile which, for example, says, okay, I want one data pattern to be low confidence and the other to be high confidence, and all those kind of operations are possible. And we also have advanced Boolean operations. So you can actually combine OR and, which was not possible before. So for example, in this case, I've combined a credit card number and a Voyager credit card with the OR operation and a ML classifier, which is bank statements. So you can create these kind of advanced data profiles, and then you can use them in your policies to block traffic, to do some actions like remediation or incidents at Prisma SaaS, and alerts and blocks on Prisma Access. So with that, let me go to a quick demo on both these products. So just because we have more Prisma Access people, I'll start with Prisma Access. So I've recorded a demo on how it's going to look like, and I'll talk through it. So these are the data profiles that come out of the box. So as you can see, we have a GDPR profile, PII profile, etc. And this is my test profile which I created, which has these data patterns. And I have an action called alert in the direction upload. And this is the page for the advanced data profile where I can create multiple Boolean operations. So this is a out-of-the-box credit card profile. And yeah, you can create your custom data profile like that. So you just provide a name, and you can click multiple data patterns. You can actually choose the confidence levels. You can choose the file type, the action, and yep. So this is the advanced data profile. So it's a drag and drop. You can just drag and create your own Boolean operations. And these are the data patterns that come by default with them. So you can see we have a lot of national IDs, driver license, healthcare related, credit card number, which was not there before. And you can also create your own regex-based data patterns. And you can even provide proximity keywords. Also, you can provide weights, which is in the advanced level for the data patterns. That way, you can give a weight to the data patterns. And then once you are done with all that, you can actually use the data filtering profile in your policies. So for example, I'm using my policy, my profile called security profile, and then I try to upload a risky document on OneDrive. So I'm trying to upload a financial document on OneDrive. Since I had done an alert mode, so as you can see, the company financial report shows up in the data filtering logs, and it shows which profile detected it, and the action was alert. And I can dig deeper and see what were the data pattern matches. So yeah, it gives all the information, how many occurrences and what is the confidence level. So this was pretty much what we did for advanced DLP in Prisma Access. Now let me show you how that translates to Prisma SaaS. So in Prisma SaaS, we never had the concept of data profile, so we have added this new tab, data profile, which is similar to the data filtering profile in Prisma Access. And it comes out of the box with few of the data profiles like GDPR, legal, healthcare, PII, etc. And you can pin these profiles on the dashboard so that you can get visibility as soon as you log in. Like for example, whichever are important to you. So for example, for me, I wanted to see visibility of legal, PII, financial information, etc. So I've pinned those on the dashboard, and it gives me, okay, how many files or assets are in the cloud which are legal files. And then I can just click on that, and it actually takes me to the Cloud Assets page, and it gives me a listing of all the files. We have also introduced 250 data patterns on Prisma SaaS as well. So as you can see, all these data patterns were available in Prisma Access, so it's all consistent. So this is how it looks on Prisma SaaS, and this is what the high confidence and low confidence I was talking about. And each of these data pattern comes with some predefined proximity keywords. But if you want to add some company-specific more proximity keywords to even reduce false positives, we have the option to clone these data patterns, and then you can edit the proximity keywords and use them. Once you are done defining data patterns and profiles, you can use them in your policies. So for example, let's see the PII policy here. So I have a match criteria of the data profile which was defined earlier, PII, and then I can choose whatever exposure I want and whatever remediation actions I want to do, and directly I can use that. This will help me in finding all the risky files in the Incidents tab. Also, on the Assets page, we have added filters for data profiles. So you can actually filter using all the data profiles that have matches. And we actually show all the data profiles even on the view page. So you can actually click and see what were the data pattern matches, what were the data profile matches. And we also show the snippets based on the confidence level. So if you want to find out only the high confidence snippets, we have a view now to see that. the low confidence snippets, medium confidence snippets, everything is available in the assets details page. Okay. So as you can see, I can see my high confidence, my low confidence, and there's no credit card detection on this one, so there's no medium confidence. So this was the consistent DLP services across Prisma SaaS and Access. Let me switch back to the. So key takeaways from this. We have single DLP detection engine embedded in all Palo Alto Networks products, some of which are in the roadmap, but SaaS and Access are available. It's a cloud service, so DLP service is a cloud service, and it has rich DLP capabilities, which is powered by advanced machine learning. And you need to only configure it once, and it will be available in all your products. It also comes up with out-of-the-box profiles like GDPR, healthcare, etc. That's it. So if you guys have any questions, I'll open the floor for questions. Sorry.
When is going to be available on the firewalls, the DLP?
It's in the roadmap, so hopefully next year.
And it's going to be a single console to see the logs and all the data patterns?
Yes.
So ultimately, all your logs should be going eventually to Cortex Data Lake, right? So today, Prisma SaaS sends its, or Prisma Access sends its logs to Cortex Data Lake, and that's where you'll get the complete visibility.
Yeah, how much bespoke setup is needed for this? Obviously, you've got some out-of-the-box profiles, but I mean, it looks like you might have to define a lot of individual kind of data patterns to actually get it working for your enterprise. Do you have, have you taken any customers through this? Do you have any kind of idea of how much effort it is to kind of tune it for an organization's needs?
You want to take that?
You can take it.
So obviously, the answer is it's going to vary. Typically speaking, this is still a new feature for us, or a new function for us. With Prisma SaaS, historically, it's actually been very quick out of the box to set up, or there's no box, but out of the gate, so to speak. We do have some customers who have gone and built out some advanced regular expressions using Java regex, and that's very straightforward because it's a standard open language.
Yes.
Question back here? That works.
Yeah, so right now we don't have, I understand you're talking about the snippets functionality, right, which you saw in Prisma.
The trouble I have with snippets on the Palo Alto Networks firewall, the reason why we don't use it is it's one packet out of the entire.
Yeah.
So you're looking for more of a legal hold type flow where you.
If someone uploads a Word document that triggers DLP, it's going to flag against some regex or something like that. But I don't really know what it is. I want to be able to look at that document and be like, oh, it's clearly on proprietary source code. Oh, it's someone more of a user or something.
Yeah, so right now we don't have that functionality, just because for that you need to actually store the data, and we don't want to store the data because it would be like a complete compliance issues and all those things.
Right. So with Prisma SaaS, however, you do have the ability to do that, right? Yep.
Yeah.
Any questions? Yes, sir.
How are you going to manage traffic that is not possible to decrypt? You will do that with the nation, like trucks in the future?
So today, with Prisma Access, if we can't decrypt it, we can't see the file. And it's same is true even in Prisma SaaS. If you encrypt a file before you upload it, an encrypted file is encrypted. If we could see inside encrypted, you'd have a bigger problem. So that is one of the things, like as you mentioned, we have on the future to add in endpoint solutions. So that may be something we can approach in the future with an endpoint.